So as we've been reading through the scriptures, we're now following Paul into his old age, and he's in prison in Rome, and he's writing a couple of his letters. That's what I've been reading recently, with Philemon and Philippians. And I got really struck by one particular dynamic of what it is that Paul is doing. So if you imagine Paul's context, he is stuck. He is in prison. He doesn't have freedom of movement. He doesn't have freedom of relationship and community. He's just a solitary figure who gets probably the occasional visitor to care for his needs or provide some food and maybe a little bit of comfort, but he's a prisoner. So he's really not allowed to live life on his own terms. He is under somebody else's authority. And yet when you read Philippians and when you read Philemon, there's something really powerful that's going on, and this is what I spotted, is even although he's stuck, everything in Paul's theology, everything in his exhortation, in his writing and in his commentary has a movement to it. There's an energy to it. There's something that abounds within it. Where as he speaks to Philemon about Onesimus, it's about growth. It's about stretching the boundaries of his own faith and character. It's this movement of discipleship to expand and enlarge the capacities of his own soul to love and to embrace somebody who was technically a runaway slave. Technically he could have had arrested and flogged or sold or, done something else nefarious to him. And yet Paul is urging this dynamic of love to transform Philemon. And also, if you can imagine it from Onesimus' point of view, he has to return home to Philemon. And that's in a sense almost taking his life in his hands, trusting that Philemon will indeed embrace him. And yet for Onesimus, he needs to journey both physically and spiritually and through his character to allow himself to go back, to press himself to go back home and carry Paul's greetings and love, and yet also trust that somehow the faith that his master has and the faith that Paul shows in him and the faith that he has in God are all this sort of dynamic, all working together in harmony. Similarly, when he writes to the Philippian church, again, he's in jail, he's stuck, and yet everything about his theology and his commentary has this energy to it, has this dynamic of movement and growth, this outward trajectory of energy and faith and the kingdom vitality, that they would grow, they would struggle, they would rise to the challenge, they would be dynamically changed and transformed through their faith and through their partnership with Paul in love. And so even though he's stuck, he's not stuck. He is not confined by the circumstances of his prison cell or his house arrest. He is not chained down in his own spirit and soul as he writes. In fact, he has this immense liberty. In the spirit, he has this conviction that he is still at large, that he is still able to challenge and move and go and travel through his words and through his letters and through his love to the four corners of the empire. And so I think that's a great encouragement, because even although we might feel stuck in our circumstances, or we might be in a bit of a rut, or we might be just going through the routine of life, of work and sleep and pay the bills and get the groceries and look after stuff that needs looked after, there's this reflection that comes to us if we hold the mirror of Paul's life up against our life. There's this challenge that comes to us. Am I changing and challenging? Am I taking opportunity to walk into the wind and to grow muscles that I otherwise wouldn't grow? Or am I being confined by my circumstances? Am I being dulled down by the monotony of the calendar? Or am I able to somehow rise in a new way to allow my faith and the love of God to transform not only my own soul or our own souls, but to be an encouragement that that would be happening further afield in the lives of those we love. So I think Paul is a beautiful example and challenge to us here of somebody who in his old age and in his house arrest or in his confinement is still at large. He is still energized. He is still being transformed. He is still encouraging. He is still flexing his spiritual and growing his spiritual muscles to be prophetic and to be inspiring to those who would cross his path. And so if you feel that you're getting a bit stale and stuck, allow these words perhaps from Paul's life and Paul's witness to fan into flame again the faith of encouragement and gratitude, to inspire both in your own self and in others a deeper love toward our Lord. So, till next time, peace.